What is going on, you guys? My name is Curtis with the Seoul Dojo Gaming Channel, and this is our first impressions of EAFC 25. I know it's another FIFA/EAFC game. They come out every year, so we gotta do it. We gotta do a first impressions on it. I'm gonna say just right off the top that this is actually a different year for EAFC. Usually I'd come on here and say, look, they've neglected this mode again. They neglected these features. The gameplay isn't good. It's the same game, blah, 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 all the stuff. It's mediocre, all that stuff. And you know what? Historically, over the last 7 years, especially the latter years of the FIFA franchise, before they switched over to EAFC and EA and FIFA, split, I would have said that. I would have definitely said that. But the latter years of the FIFA franchise have been terrible. And then the debut of EAFC with EAFC 24 was super mediocre. And you would have just thought, okay, maybe this is a brand new series. They're going to come out of the gate swinging. I'm actually very happy to say that EAFC 25 is kind of coming out with something different, and it's actually kind of good. So I've played loads of this game. I know loads about this game, and there's just so much that I want to go so well for this franchise. And every year is a disappointment, but EAFC 25, even when they were announcing the deep dives and what's coming to pro clubs, what's coming to career mode, what's coming in the presentation, I was very excited, honestly. Well, not super excited to the point that your expectations leave you, but I was sitting here thinking, you know what, for what they're telling me, this looks like it could be possibly a good EAFC title. And it is. EAFC 25 has good features in here, and it's all really due to FC IQ, the brand new tactical system, and Rush, I believe, is a good replacement for Voltaire. So let's kick it off with the presentation. I mean, does the presentation really change in EAFC that much? I really don't think so, but you do start to notice those small things because I play the game so much. You do start to notice those small things. So this year I've noticed that EA Sports, they have this new body mapping system that kind of replicates players' body types. So now players like Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and like I said in my SGO review, you should go check that out at Sports Gamers Online, even Joshua Zirkzee, I mean, players, it was like 1,800 players that they body mapped, and now these players are absolutely recognizable from anywhere on the screen. Even if you remove their head and you only saw their jersey and their body type, you would know exactly what player that it is if you watch football, religiously like me. So these players have like the exact face and the exact body type, and it looks more like them than ever before. Another thing that I was really impressed with is just, and this was something that they talked about a little bit in EAFC 24, which was the cloth technology that they have, which for the jersey movement. I think this year it's so noticeable with the jersey movement, and it's very lifelike, and it actually does make the game's presentation look different. The broadcast packages of the English Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga, all that stuff is beautiful. The atmosphere, EA is so good at making the football atmosphere. It's so good. The chants, the constant yelling on the sidelines, the crowd reacting to wanting a penalty, things like this are just what makes the EAFC football experience, and I always love it. So earlier I mentioned FC IQ and Rush. These two features are the cornerstone features of EAFC 25. FC IQ is this brand new overhaul to the tactics system for the game, and I really like it because it kind of takes away the traditional fast build up, slow build up, counter attack kind of thing, and it actually focuses more on player roles. You're seeing players not necessarily stick to tactics, but have certain roles. It's going more towards roles. That's something that Pep Guardiola has really adapted into today's game. So for example, you have players like Diogo Dalot, Marc Cucurella, and other left backs that can move into the midfield, and they have those qualities and those abilities of a midfielder. This is called a false back, and they have that in EAFC 25 now. Another one that they have is a half winger, which is something that you'll see Jude Bellingham do for Real Madrid, which is like a center attacking mid, or just a midfielder that moves more towards the wing and kind of plays in more expansive or in the winger areas and does, their damage there. There's multiple different roles that players can play, but you take all those roles and you try to implement them into your team. Different players are different types of players, right? So you're trying to make all that complement each other and create the ultimate tactics and your own customizable tactics. That's what I really like about FCIQ, is it's very customizable. Of course, similar to like play styles, roles have pluses and play style pluses, like they have double pluses. So this basically means if it's just a regular, like say if you have a player that's a cam and they're a playmaker. So if it's a playmaker and it's gray, it means that they're just decent at being a playmaker. Now, if it has a plus near it, it's like, okay, they're very well established as a playmaker. Now, if they have 2 pluses next to it, that means they're world class at it. So it's very similar to the playstyle plus. Another thing that I really like about FCIQ is it truly does change the AI behavior. So you do see your fullbacks moving into that midfield area if they're a false back, or you see them, making overlapping runs constantly when they need to. You do see advanced strikers making runs and just, getting their back against the defenders. You do see these things, and it's something that I feel like the gameplay has been missing, behaviors within roles, and I feel like this is a good step in the right direction for the gameplay. The other headlining feature is the 5v5 rush mode. Now, rush has been very fun when I've been playing it. It replaced Volta football, which finally Volta is completely gone. It was hanging on by the skin of its teeth. It was not popular at all. It was losing the small bit of popularity that it had. But I think it was just very desperate for EA to just latch it on to pro clubs and have them have a shared progression system, because it was just weird. It was just very weird. You can tell it was desperate, and they were trying to make Volta relevant. But Rush is a different experience, especially with your friends. It's very intense. You have to be coordinated. You have to set your team up right, and you have to play as a team, and you have to have a bit of skill. I think that's why I like it so much. It's chaotic at times. It's fun. It's supposed to be chaotic and wild. I don't like the commentary, by the way. The commentary in Rush is awful. The guy is just terrible. He just screams "Goal!" like throughout the whole thing, because there's so many goals happening, and then he says weird things like, "Oh, he's as cold as a bathroom floor." I mean, it's just terrible writing for the commentary. It's awful. It's awful. Let's jump over to the modes. Honestly, I didn't think I was ever going to say this while doing YouTube, because the EAFC/FIFA franchise has been very up and down for a while, but career mode, manager career mode especially, has gotten some decent features going forward. Of course, FCIQ is in manager career mode and rushes, and I'll get to that here in a second. But FCIQ, it's just really great to set up your team and have all the tactics and the roles and the coaches you can use. It's just, FIFA hasn't felt like this in a very, very long time, and it's getting a little bit closer to Football Manager like, but it's totally not, because Football Manager has multiple layers. It's way more in depth. The feature that I just love in manager career mode this year is the new youth features. They're small. The youth system has not been revamped. It's just small improvements, because this particular feature, youth, in manager career mode has not been touched for years. It's been the same for so long, but it's so great that Rush, the Rush 5v5 Rush match type, is used in the youth tournament. So now you can use your youth that you're developing in youth tournaments to help them develop, but you can also see, like, okay, this player is actually going to be really good. You can also recruit players that are younger. You can also scout players differently this year. So if you want a specific center mid, right, you want a center mid that's a holding center mid that is, more about defending, and his focus is defending, you can find that player. If you want a player that's a half winger, you can find that player. You want a attacking right back, you can find that player specifically. You can also find different players and not just go for one player like you usually do in the previous games. One thing that I should realize before I continue is that women's football is fully integrated into manager and player career now. So I even made a female player for a player career, and it goes exactly just like the men's. So if you are a woman and you wanted to play as a woman, you have the top leagues that are for women in EAFC 25 now, and I think that's really cool. Honestly, I actually enjoyed playing as a woman when I was playing the game, and I actually controlled, I think, the women's Arsenal team. You're probably seeing the gameplay right now. It was actually a really good match and it was very fun. But yeah, it's very much like the men. It has a little bit of less features because they don't have as much. Player career is, I think it's fun. There's small things they could do with player career to make it better, but there's also, I don't know, they might need to think outside the box a little bit. But what's coming to player career right now is you have these new starting points that you can do. So if you want to be a person that you were at the top, you want to be a player, you were at the top at first and then you were dropped back down, to being on the bench, you can have different buffs and rebuffs on that. You can be a player with a clean slate, you can be a player that's just disregarded or whatever. There's different starting points now you can have with player career. Also, player icons are in the game now, so you can play as a legendary player. So I played as David Beckham that went to Manchester United. It was fun, it was cool. I hope they expand upon it a little bit. This is something that NBA 2K does with legendary teams and legendary players. I wish they expand upon it a little bit because there wasn't even any special commentary about David Beckham coming back to his boyhood club. It wasn't even a special occasion. It was just like, okay, now play the game. Like it wasn't that great, but it's cool that this is in here if people want to indulge in it. I won't indulge much into it, but it is here for people that want to play it. Let's talk about my favorite mode, Pro Clubs. Of course, FC IQ fully integrated into Pro Clubs. Rush is making its debut in Pro Clubs. Of course, yeah, Pro Clubs and Rush go together really, really well. As I was saying, when you play with your friends, it's super intense. It's very fun. FC IQ, of course, you can set up your teams how you want. There's facilities now in Pro Clubs, which means you can get new attribute points from buying and upgrading facilities. So if you want more strength, then you buy a weight room and you upgrade that to get more and more and more. Relegation is back in clubs, which it took a bit of a year hiatus. There's new customizable options like a half sleeve. There's just small things like that. You can also progress through Rush in different divisions and things like that. So Pro Clubs got a little bit here and there, but it's still, and it also got like a brand new look, so it's a mode that, as long as it gets something, I feel like it's always going to be a mode that everybody plays, everybody loves. Just keep integrating things into it and fans are going to love it. Lastly, gameplay wise, EA Sports keeps adding thousands of animations to EAFC 25, and honestly, it is to the EAFC series, I should say. Honestly, it is a good thing because if you play games like UFL and other like football titles like eFootball, you start to realize how important animations and having so many animations really helps the fluidity of the game. And this game is probably the most fluid football title out there, and it's so fluid, so great. Of course, it's a slight upgrade from last year. You do have FC IQ, which I've talked about this whole first impressions. FC IQ does help the game tactically, but it still does feel the same in a lot of areas. I do like some of the animations in terms of defending. I feel like there's multiple ways to nick the ball off of your player or intercept the ball, which is good. But of course, more animations, a little bit of a smoother gameplay, little slight improvements here and there in the gameplay. And honestly, people are gonna like it regardless. People are gonna play it regardless. So should you buy EAFC 25? Honestly, this is one of my favorite EAFC / FIFA games probably in the last 7 years. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can tell by my tone, I'm having loads of fun with it. I love Rush. I love the new game mode. I'm happy Volta's gone. I love some of the additions to manager career mode. I feel like I'm gonna have so much fun. Pro clubs, even though I got just a little bit here and there, it's always a mode that's really fun. It just seems like everything, the whole package right now, for a person that, you know, is a EAFC fan, somebody that plays the game a lot, you know, buys it every year. This is a good year. This is a good year. But if you're not into EAFC that much, or you just play it a little bit here and there, definitely wait for a sale. But if you are a fan like me, yes, pick it up day one. It should be today. It should be fully out today. Don't pay the $100 to play it. Pick it up today or whenever it comes out. Grab it. I think you'll love it. But if you are a person that can wait for a sale, I definitely say recommend. I recommend waiting for a sale, definitely. My name is Curtis with the Seoul Dojo Gaming channel. You can follow me on X at Kelly from the Dojo. And make sure you guys subscribe to the Seoul Dojo Gaming channel, because we're going to keep giving you first impressions like these and some honest opinion, man. Some honest opinion. All right, I'll check you guys later, all right? Peace.